Welcome to our podcast. So, today we're going to be brushing up on the topic, why do rape verdicts vary in difficulty across countries? So, here we have with us Ria,
Hi.
Ila, Marin,
Hi.
Hello.
and myself, Neba. Do you guys know anything about our topic specifically?
Yeah, before we actually came together to do some research on the topic, we decided to come together and think of a hypothesis that would direct us to assume that more developed countries may obtain lower levels of sexual harassment and rape. This is due to many different aspects. And to broaden our understanding on the matter, we have accumulated a variety of research from countries with holding a diverse range of cultures as well as economic wealth. Um, such as Singapore and UAE, which are higher economically developed countries, and we assumed that those countries would have lower crime rates, leading to lower rape levels.
So I chose the country UAE, and according to my analysis, zero point 0.4 per 100,000 people got raped in UAE in 2022. And I also discovered that the low crime rate in the UAE is due to the cultural values of education and the sense of responsibility among its citizens, creating a society that follows the laws and discourages such criminal activity. And the UAE has also achieved an impressive level of security measures, with crime rates significantly lower compared to other countries.
Okay, so the country I chose is Singapore. Just like UAE, Singapore has very low rape rate. I think the reason for this is because in Singapore, there's no chance that you can get away by being apologetic, or by bribing officers. No one is above the law in Singapore. Singapore has a very strict law enforcement. Singaporeans are well aware of their actions, and they know which is legal and which is illegal, and they make sure that what they are doing is legal, as they know that doing the wrong things, even if it's small, will result in being fined and ending up in jail or even worse. And moreover, there are CCTV cameras installed all over Singapore. These cameras are only aids for law enforcement, so criminals will be caught red handed with proper evidences. So it is easier to get a guilty verdict as there's no point in lying. So I'm gonna move on with the penalties and prison sentences. Offenders who are guilty of committing rape against a victim who is aged 14 years old or older will be jailed up to 20 years and will also be liable to fine or caning. On the other hand, offenders who are guilty of committing aggravated rape will be jailed for at least 8 years and up to 20 years and caned off at least 12 times. So, these are the main reasons why Singapore has a low rape rate, I believe, and according to my studies also. So, thank you.
Okay, so that was really insightful. So, we got a proper view of rape from countries that are more economically developed. So now I'd like to see what countries that are comparatively less economically developed face. So Marin, would you like to say something?
So the country that I have chosen is South Africa. And the reason that I have chosen this country is because it has the sixth highest rape statistics in the world, leading at 70.22 per 100,000 people. The statistics that I have accumulated from doing extensive research on the topic is that South Africa's someone is raped or sexually abused every 25 seconds, and it kind of it exhibits how intolerated this situation is within the country and how weak the criminal justice system is within the country. It is also estimated that a woman born in South Africa has a greater chance of being raped than learning how to read. This also displays the lack of literacy rate that women get in that country, and how that also consequently leads to them having to be more dependent on the men being predominant in the household and them just being usual housewives. And that is why, due to that, a lot of the chances they mostly are raped by their partner, and that is why they have a greater chance of being raped than learning how to read. Another statistics that I have found is that that's more from a recent time 2020, there was a total of 42,289 rapes that were only reported. That is about an average of 115 rapes a day. And that is such a recent time in 2010 to 20 in such a modern era to consider that it's such a high rape rate. It's insane. And also, these are the only ones that are reported. There is people don't bother in South Africa to even rape rates, the rape situations, due to the fact that no one will be bothered, no one will care, no one will take care of it, no one will take care of them. This is also because there is a giant misogyny that is engraved within the culture of South Africa. Men, with their pride, think it is important to take. They use rape as a weapon to maintain dominancy of male power, and they believe that there was a survey by the University of South Africa found that 18% of laborers thought that having sex with a virgin cures HIV or AIDS. That myth is obviously incorrect, but it makes people realize that people assume that having sex with a virgin would give them it would cure them. Also, another part is the apartheid system, which means it means separateness or separate of being apart. So this is when the rape of a white woman was prosecuted and they would have their justice. But due to the gender and race issues that Black women specifically struggle with, they had a social acceptance that rape of Black women was part of their life. Like I said before, it was part of their life, and no one really cared when it was when they were getting hurt and victimized. So altogether, and contrasting to what Srinidhi said about Singapore, that there was high surveillance and security, that is highly different in South Africa. In South Africa, there is a lack of fear of the consequences because there is a lack of security. There is no CCTV or surveillance. And the consequences that you receive after being prosecuted for rape is not high enough and scary enough as in countries such as UAE and Singapore. That is why no one cares. And we have to do something about that. Thank you.
Okay, so that was really insightful. Even the country that I chose, Bangladesh, it also has like a really high rape rate. So according to my research, 715 females were reportedly raped in Bangladesh in 2022, and barely any of them received a proper guilty verdict on their perpetrator. And this is only the number of reported incidents, like Marin said. And the main reason that there are like so many unreported incidents is mainly due to like the cultural stigma faced by the women in the country. So, since Bangladesh is basically like a patriarchal country where the men depict their masculinity through dominant and aggressive actions, they kind of like tend to accuse the woman for being raped by blaming her for dressing immodestly and stepping out at an inappropriate hour, which is like usually after 6. Even though she did nothing wrong, they continue to blame her. And there have been like some, not some, there have been many extreme cases where
Country
the
I
woman is
researched
forced to
upon is
marry
India,
her rapist
and
to save her face.
in
So
India,
that's the
IPC,
situation
like Indian Penal
of
Code, rape
Bangladesh
is a
as of
criminal
now.
offense under
So
the
I'm pretty
section
sure that Ila
375,
also has something
and
to
there's
say.
other laws for rape like protection of children from sexual assault, POXO Act, which is a separate and distinctive legal framework from both Indian Penal Code and Indian Constitutional. The minimum sentence for rape is 7 years, and the maximum is life imprisonment. And to the rarest of cases, it might be also death penalty. According to the National Crime Bureau's annual report, in 2018, around 94,000 rape cases were filed in India, which means in every 15 minutes, one rape has been committed in India. The conviction rate was 27%, and the unreported cases were only 44%. And this mainly we don't get much of a conviction rate is because of society blaming the victim so that the survivors will face judge they are scared to face judgment. and it makes it difficult for them to come forward and report a crime. Rape. And then the other reason is money and power. A wealthy rapist can hire the best of the lawyers and giving them the strongest defense. A social or a political connection can influence the handling of the judgment by law enforcement, and a wealthy rapist can use power to intimidate the victim to withdraw the case on him, threaten or bribe a witness or official. Rapists with political connections can also use their power to interfere with the legal process. Late reporting. People don't immediately report because they are in the trauma or they are ashamed of getting raped, as sex education is not found or not really taught in some rural areas in India. So the another thing is that it can overwhelm them as they fear that no one trusts them or no one believes them if they say that. And another thing is caste and culture. So caste based hierarchies can impact the verdict really hugely, really heavily. Those who are marginalized will face additional challenges. The two case studies I did, one of them, a judge from Allahabad, used astrology instead of the legal procedure to find out if the accused is guilty or not. And if that person had an astrology fault, the accused will be let out free. The another case study I did was where a juvenile, meaning where a minor, committed a gruesome crime and he escaped from death penalty to a juvenile imprisonment.
So, would you like to say anything about how this whole talk was for you? Like, what did you understand from this whole talk?
I think the one thing that I would like to mention is that, after cross referencing our results with each other, after doing our results, the cultural perspective within our country became increasingly apparent to me. Because, like, the country I researched on was like, had like notably low crime rates. So it was astonishing for me to look at the results of countries like Bangladesh or India or South Africa, because comparatively they had really high crime rates, and the reasons and the some of the documentaries my friends shared with me and some of their experience they said to me was honestly traumatizing for me, to be honest. So would like to say that I realized how much difference one country and another can have, like how much cultural differences one country and another can have. That's something I understood, and it's a takeaway from this project, I would say, for me personally.
All right, that was really touching. Okay, that was really insightful. Thank you very much for that. So, if you want to learn more about this specific topic, you can go to our website, which will be linked in the description. So, yeah, with that, we've come to an end, and we really hope that you enjoyed it and you learned something new. Thank you very much. And hope
Thank
you
you
have a
very much.
Bye.